Okay. Ready, Wendy?
If you were.
I am. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Belisca?
Present.
Mr. DeSarno?
Here.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Here.
Mayor Morgan?
Here.
Mr. Kogan?
Here.
Mrs. McKnight? Here.
Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a meeting of Borough Council, Borough of New Providence, County of Union, State of New Jersey. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with PL 1965, Chapter 231, annual notice of revision was made in conformance with Section 13 of the Act. Okay, right now we have before we do anything, I want to have a moment of silence. Former Councilman Don McMillan passed away a couple weeks ago. I know probably none of you really knew Don. I knew him when I first was mayor the first term. And Maureen Stickle, who was a longtime employee and administrative assistant here in the borough. So let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Right now, we have a public hearing for the franchise renewal application for Comcast. Karen, the floor is yours.
All right, great. Well, I just want to say I drove through the town, and what a beautiful town it is. The downtown's sparkling, and it's always nice to see such, and because of your efforts here.
Thank you.
So good evening, Mayor Morgan and members of the governing body. My name is Karen Mastriano. I am the Director of Government and Regulatory Affairs for Comcast in Northern New Jersey. I have a prepared statement that I would like to read into the record. We are in the final stages of the cable television franchise renewal process, which is governed by both federal and state statutes and regulations. Comcast began the renewal process on about December 14th, 2020, by sending a letter to the borough indicating our intention to seek a renewal of our non-exclusive franchise. Under Section 626 of the Cable Communication Policy Act of 1984 and 1996, excuse me. Following the state's timeline, Comcast filled an application for renewal of municipal consent on or about March 14th, 2023. That application has been available for public inspection in the clerk's office. Tonight's hearing is on that application. No action of the council is required this evening. However, tonight's hearing is an opportunity to hear from both the governing body and the public. The governing body must judge our application on the following 4 criteria. 1, have we complied with the terms of our existing franchise? 2, has the quality of service, signal quality, response to consumer complaints, and billing practices been reasonable in light of the community needs? 3, does Comcast have the technical, financial, and legal ability to provide service as proposed? Is our proposal reasonable in order to meet the future cable-related needs and interests of the community? Of those 4, there are 2 things, in addition to those, that the governing body may not consider in deciding to renew or deny renewal. Those are rates. Rates are governed by the state and federal statute, not a municipal decision. And programming. The cable operations channel lineup are protected by the First Amendment, just as a newspaper content is. And that is the end of my statement. So if there's any questions I'll ask the governing body first, if there's any questions.
Is anybody here? Diane, this is your
Yeah,
committee,
So, just to let the public know.
And then I was going to ask the public as well.
Okay,
So we might as well do it together.
Just to let everybody know, it's common knowledge that we created a Comcast franchise renewal committee. We are governed by the rules that you said. We had an amazing committee who got together and reviewed different aspects of our service. We have followed every requirement that we were required to do. And actually, we went above and beyond, and we created a survey for our residents in case anybody wanted to weigh in. So I have the results of those, just in general broad
Great.
terms also. But I think like at council meetings, we've been talking about it. We've been, discussing the fact that this is out there. We had asked the public to become part of the committee.
That's great.
So, yeah, so.
But you sent out a survey too, so,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
sent out a survey to the public. So when we get to the public, so does a council have any questions?
any
So I-
questions from
The only
council?
question I have is the answer to number 2, which I'm looking forward to. Hopefully the survey will answer for us, right? In regards to complaints and
quality.
service quality.
Right, well, that's why I'm here and I'm your representative, so I hope to solve any of those problems.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments up here? No? Anybody from the public?
Want to talk about their,
Seeing no one.
okay, so our responses were pretty even.
Okay,
We had about a little over 10% highly unfavorable, but then a little over 10% highly favorable. So,
it's a wash.
and then the rest is pretty even. It's about 37% were favorable or mostly favorable, and then 26% unfavorable. So it was pretty even, as you would kind of assume a survey would be. We had some people talk about they had connections issues, and then somebody else said, oh, I never had connection issues, so I don't know if that happens to be where they are located, their street address. I don't know if that makes any difference. You had some people who said they've never had a problem, some people who said that they love the programming and they're very happy with their service. So it was basically kind of just a flat response.
well,
So
that's
anybody-
nice to hear, because it is a big community and there's a lot of different people in it, so it's nice to hear that you have options, and my job is to make sure that we get 100%. So what I'll do as we're going through and talking about what we're going to do going forward, we'll try to see where those deficiencies were and how we can resolve them.
And I know that there were some people who said that, they went to Verizon because they didn't like Comcast, but that's the beauty of this arrangement. You're
Right.
not forced into anything, you have a choice.
Right.
So there are multiple providers in town, so.
That's great, that's great. Well, thank you.
May I comment as a
Yeah,
resident?
please, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, resident and, boy, it must be over 25-year customer of yours, so. I personally, I understand that programming we're not talking about programming or rates. I was going to ask for
You're
more
gonna ask about
more
some-
Sopranos episodes,
More
but that's
Sopra-
not, that's,
Yeah, that's
evidently
HBO,
not,
I
I'm joking, it was a joke. And then rates, obviously, you said we can't, not in our scope.
Well, you can bring it up,
not our
but I
scope
can't,
of
I
what we
can't
talk
help you
about.
with those.
But if it is fair to talk about, I would like to talk about just from a customer service or call center perspective. Would that be a fair thing to bring
Sure,
up?
sure.
My personal experience, and I'm not speaking as a councilman, I'm just talking
Yeah,
as a
sure.
resident and a customer. From a technical standpoint, I've always been very impressed with the latest equipment and how quickly, when you do come out, you swap it out or do what needs to be done to get operational. My frustration has always been, I tend to think it's probably many's, and it is with regard to the call center or customer service aspect, push button 1, push button 3, go back to here, and the extreme amount of time it takes to get a live person who you could then get a complaint resolved. Can you speak a little bit about your company's efforts in that area, where you are kind of benchmarked against rest in your industry as far as, let's say, dollars you spend in that area from a customer service standpoint, call center standpoint? I just want to understand, is it something that sometimes I think companies try to make that as efficient as possible and then sacrifice some service?
Well, I do think that during COVID, they changed, maybe Rob can,
Can I-
yeah, go ahead, please do.
Because I've been here a little bit longer, 22 years. So,
Yeah.
my name is Rob Clifton. I'm the Senior Director of Government Affairs for Comcast. So, obviously, with the pandemic, that was an issue. We had a closed call center, so we have, and we still have most of our customer service personnel at home answering phone calls. But it is an issue that we've been grappling with. The IVR, or the Press the 2, the Press the 1, that's designed to make the system more efficient, so we know exactly to get you to the person if it's an internet issue or a phone issue. But as far as the National Cable Association, we are right within their standards, so we're on par with our other operators and the other competitors in there. I live in a cable system, or in a town with a cable system that's different than Comcast, so I can tell you, I share your frustration. It is an industry issue. We are constantly trying to upgrade, bring more people on, use things like technology, self-install kits, things like that, to try to even reduce people having to call in, either using apps or the internet to try to make it more efficient. But I understand, and we are as frustrated. In New Jersey, we probably answer a little over 1.5 million calls a year, just from New Jersey residents. So that's an issue we continue to grapple with and put money into.
No, I appreciate.
But it's a huge issue, and it is a large part of the improvements we are constantly trying to upgrade and maintain.
Yeah, I appreciate you recognizing that as an issue. I'll share this. I mean, I had an experience in another industry recently, with a customer service line like that, or a call center line, and it was so extremely good that when I tell you it stood out in my head, and I'll be a loyal customer for a long time for that organization. Again, you're explaining to me that you're on par with the rest of your competitors and all, and I appreciate that. But I sure hope that companies recognize that being able to reach a live person has significant value to the consumer. So thank you.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, a couple of people who said they had favorable overall, they did say something about the customer
Obviously,
service.
without giving
So-
out personal information, if we could get a copy of the survey, whether it's a synopsis with the final results, or, there are customers too, but if there are specific areas of the municipality where you've seen a group of people say there are service
yeah.
issues or lag time, that can help us identify that area and get a technician out to deal with those issues. So if you see patterns in town, like these 5 streets, 20 people said there was issues, we can get someone out there immediately
Well, I know
if we
that
know that information.
the library, which is on the end of our municipality, they had problems with the phone calls, so they finally switched out of Comcast.
So they were
because
using our phone service?
They were using the phone service only for the,
Alarm.
for the
alarm
alarms,
system.
For the alarm system, okay.
so.
But as you compile your survey, if we could get some sort of information from it, like, again, not residential information, but if you see Main Street.
Summary level.
Yeah, if 25 people on Main Street called because there was an issue, that'll help us to send someone out there to try to correct that issue.
Okay,
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
We'll be in touch.
okay.
All right, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for coming out.
Right, thank you.
Okay. Now we have ordinance 2023-07, and this is appropriating $107,000 for capital improvement fund, the purchase and installation of mobile device terminals for the fire department. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Anybody wishing to address on this ordinance and this ordinance only, please raise your hand, give your name and address. Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing closed. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Belisca?
Aye.
Mr. DeSarno?
Aye.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Aye.
Mr. Kogan?
Yes.
Mrs. McKnight? Yes.
Okay. Do a couple proclamations.
tonight is a proclamation declaring October as Food Insecurity Awareness Month in New Providence, New Jersey. Whereas food insecurity is the lack of consistent access to enough food for every person in a household to live an active, healthy life. It can be temporary or long-lasting and affects people across all different ages, races, and income classes in the United States. And whereas in America, about 1 in 10 people and 1 in 6 children are experiencing food insecurity. Within Union County alone, over 7.3% of residents, or about 40,000 people, are currently food insecure, including a rate of 9.2%, which is about 12,000 kids for children. And whereas thousands of nonprofit organizations and food banks, including the LINK program, have been set up across the United States with the goal of fighting food insecurity, working tirelessly to provide families with necessary nutritional support. And whereas because food insecurity is often tied to other major troubles like poverty, unemployment, health conditions, and more, it is even harder to put an end to it. However, with the issue growing every day, more work must be done to raise awareness about it and to fight it head on.
Aiden, why don't you come up? Because you're one of the founders of the LINK program. So now therefore, be it resolved that I, Alan Morgan, Mayor of the Borough of New Providence, proclaim October as Food Insecurity Month, Awareness Month in New Providence, New Jersey, and encourage all residents to observe Food Insecurity Awareness Month and support this cause that is so deeply impacts families in every community across this country. And to do that,
I'll take a picture this way if you got it.
he's going to take a picture.
Why don't you take the other one? Lisa,
You put Annie up too. Come on, Annie.
did you say a couple words now?
And Moms for Mom, they actually started in the Borough of New Providence.
Yes,
that's
right.
Okay, whereas diaper need, the condition of not having a sufficient supply of clean diapers to keep babies and toddlers clean, dry, and healthy can adversely affect the health and well-being of babies, toddlers, and their families. And whereas national surveys and research studies report that one in 3 families struggle with diaper need, and 48% of families delay changing diapers to extend the available supply. And whereas purchasing enough diapers to keep a baby or toddler clean, dry, and healthy can consume 14% of low-wage families' post-tax income. And whereas a daily or weekly supply of diapers is generally an eligibility requirement for babies and toddlers who participate in child care programs that enable parents to work. And whereas without enough diapers, babies and toddlers risk infections and health problems that may require medical attention, resulting in medical costs. And parents may be prevented from accessing child care needed to go to work or school, thereby destabilizing families' income, economic prospects, and well-being. And whereas the people of New Providence recognize that diaper need is a public health issue, and addressing diaper need can lead to economic opportunity for the state's families and communities and improve health for children, thus ensuring all children and families have access to basic necessities required to thrive and reach their full potential. Whereas the people of New Providence recognize diaper banks, the staff and volunteers who run them are community leaders and logistics experts addressing diaper needs and play a critical role in supporting families, improving infant health and well-being, and advancing our local and state economic growth. Now therefore, I, Alan Morgan, of New Providence do hereby proclaim the week of September 18th through September 24th, 2023 as National Diaper Need Awareness Week in the Borough of New Providence, and thank the aforementioned diaper banks, their staff, volunteers, and donors for their service, and encourage the citizens of New Providence to donate generously to diaper banks, diaper drives, and support those organizations that collect and distribute diapers to families and struggling with diaper need. And I have to say, I have just a newborn last week, grandchild, and one 10 weeks ago, and I can tell you, they go through a lot of diapers, a lot of diapers. So we really want to thank you for all that you do, because I know this genuinely is a need. So, what do you think, Yanni? Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Just wants to show off his full phone.
Thank you.
Hey, you want to say a few words about Link while you're here?
Where should I?
You can go right there.
Yeah, so I want to talk about this month. So as we know, there are two big problems in New Jersey and America alone. There's hunger, and then there's food insecurity. Now, hunger can happen from poverty, it can happen from homelessness, but food insecurity can happen under any situation for any period of time. So it's a huge issue. Now, this month, we're going to be doing as much as we can to help anyone in this town and towns around us that are struggling with food insecurity. Right now, we've actually just launched a program in the schools across all New Providence New Providence schools that is a pantry program. It's called School Fuel. So now every kid has access to breakfast, lunch, and weekend like home items, like easy to make meals, so that no kid has to go to school hungry, come back from school hungry, or go home hungry. So I want to talk about that. If you ever have a chance to donate or give time, it would mean a lot, especially during this month. So thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Aiden.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
I want to say just a couple of things about Link as well. So, it seems like it's been forever, but it's really only a little bit over a year. Aiden Barth and Abby Franco started Link, which is an amazing, undertaking for two high school kids. So I cannot, thank you enough, as two kids, undertaking this huge project. And you've turned it into such a beautiful resource for our community. Like Aiden was saying, it is a resource for underserved families. And we have been working so CSA has been working also with Link to help provide financial resources so that we can provide these families not just with non-perishables, but with fresh produce and meat. The Link volunteers actually go food shopping once a month and stock up on that. So CSA does provide some financial resources for that, as well as School Fuel, which is another wonderful initiative that they've undertaken. So, the goal is that nobody should be hungry. Nobody should go hungry, especially in the schools, first and foremost. No kid should ever be hungry. And you guys are doing a great job of really making sure that our residents are taken care of. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's go to appointments. Malathi and Athrak Christian to the Historical Preservation Commission. I think this will be a good appointment. She was on the Board of Adjustment for years and, should be really good.
Architect by trade, I think, too, right?
Yes.
What's
I
that?
think she's an architect
Yes,
as well.
yes. So, kind of a motion, please.
So moved.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
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 No, so be it. I got the look. Okay, correspondence. NJ and Jeff Riley about the Pineway drainage issue. I think Keith went out there with Marie a couple of weeks ago. Jersey Central Power and Light, public hearing requesting procurement a BGS supply through competitive auction process. New Jersey Transit enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities grant program. Rajan Kanth, Gadam, Board of Adjustment. Mike Baumer and Bob Leslie about the pickleball courts. And we'll have a report on that later. Membership for Joseph Vignali, a new member. Glad to see he's joining. The Vignali family is a tradition, legendary.
On the fire department.
Okay, and New Providence Fire Department is asking us permission for an open house for Fire Prevention Week on the 14th. Anybody have any problem with that?
No.
Great idea.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay, I know they do that, they go around to the different preschools, the schools, to teach kids fire prevention, but this is a good way for the kids and the public as a whole to, see the equipment. We spend a lot of money with the fire department on the latest and greatest equipment that they're able to have, which we just did. Mobile device units, and I think we're going to do a fire turnout here later. Okay, and Mike Layden, overnight parking. Any questions on communications? Seeing none, we'll go to council business, finance.
Okay,
Lisa.
thank you, Mayor. So we have Resolution 2023-240, a resolution certifying the annual audit. Are you gonna, Jim's gonna,
Sure. I'll give you a quick synopsis and make a few comments. So tonight you have on the agenda, you're going to certify the audit, and also there's a corrective action plan that needs to be approved that we will submit to the state once approved tonight. Basically, when I get the audit, the first thing I do is, as you know, at the end of the year, we get our annual financial statements, which is basically our trial balances after we're done, when the year is done. And the first thing I do is when I get the audit report, I compare it. And then if you have a lot of entries, that means that, you need to look at your operations through the year in terms of journal entries and whatnot. I'm happy to say that I had very few to make in our ending balances, so I knew right off the bat that we were in for a good audit, just based on that first quick synopsis. So reviewing the audit, I think the borough is in a strong financial position, stable. If you look at the fund balance over the years, especially from last year to this year, there was a slight increase, but if you look over the last 5 years, we're about at the same fund balance. So as we're going through the budgeting process, we're generating the same amount of surplus, which is excellent. That helps for our bond rating, that helps for operations, that helps for when things pop up, that we have the money available if we need to use it. Our reserve accounts, you'll see in the audit that they're down a little bit, but you have to remember we had the huge storms, where this year we're receiving some of the FEMA reimbursements from a few years ago, and you'll see that those reserve accounts will get back to the levels that we've had. As you know, during the regular budget process, we do fund money into these reserve accounts, and we will continue to do so. So we'll continue to have these reserve accounts, so if anything does come up, as it did in the past, we do have the money available to do what we have to do within the borough. We continue to follow the same budgeting practices. We've done it the last year, and we follow what we've been doing for the last few years. So my view is that when we are here next year with the audit, we're probably going to find the same findings with regards to fund balance and our reserve accounts and how our operations are running. And then the comments, there's 3. My view, very minor, not material in any way, not concerning. I already met with the staff members. I met with Bernadette. We put a corrective action plan in, which you can see, and that we will implement by the end of the year, and very easy to fix. Nothing earth-shattering, and as you can see when you look at them, they're very minor in that sense. So what will happen tonight once you approve everything, if you approve everything, we'll submit everything through the FAST portal to the state of New Jersey. Also, the audit report will be put on the website as we've done in the past. And if you really, really want to look at some of the schedules, I highly recommend the first part of the audit. It's the Exhibit A schedules. Really gives you a good summary of everything that's going on in one, maybe about 8 to 10 pages. That's a really good place to start with regards to that. Last thing, I'll just touch on collection rate, over 99%, excellent. And also the ratables have been going up over the past years, which is another excellent thing that could happen for us. So I just have, basically good news with regards to the audit report. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If anyone else has any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
So Jim, can you just touch on, I know that we had some really small minor deficiencies. So
Sure.
just for the sake of the residents and for the rest of council, can you just highlight those 3 deficiencies? They were small, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
how, just how many people were impacted and what, if there is any impact on the borough? Because-
Okay, sure. So the first one's no impact on the borough. Basically, the state law is that with regards to employees, if you make over $5,000 a year, you're supposed to go into a retirement plan. They call it the DCRP. It's not the PERS. It's another plan that is really geared for, it's almost like a 401k that the borough and the employee puts money into an account for your retirement. That $5,000 threshold is based on the entire year. So in the middle of the year, maybe if you give an increase to a certain employee, you don't forecast it out for the remainder of the year. You go over that $5,000 by $1. We had maybe a handful that they were over maybe $100 or $200, but they did fall under going into the plan. They needed to be in there at year end, so therefore it calls for an audit recommendation, which now what we're going to do is when we do get part-time employees in, our payroll person is going to forecast it for the year. And if we're close, we have to monitor that. So if there's some changes in hours, or if we do give them an increase during the year, that once they are projected to go over, we have to put them in the DCRP. So that was the first one. The second one had to do with a retired employee with a negotiated agreement, and there's confusion on a number of points with regards to receiving health and dental benefits at retirement. Once the agreement was reviewed, it was noticed that the employee was still on our insurance, should have went off quicker. So therefore, the person was taken off the insurance, but going forward, when we do have retirements, besides HR looking at the agreements, Bernadette's going to look at it, I'm going to look at it, and we're all going to come together and make sure that we're all in agreement with moving forward with regards to that. So that was the second one. And then the third one had to do with another negotiated agreement that employees, and there was, I believe, 5 or less, and it has to do with the police contract that there's, if you select one of the health benefit plans, which is much lower, they call it the Omni plan, that is much lower than our base plan, then what happens is the difference in the premiums, the employee gets to receive 50% of that savings back as a payment. When looking at the calculation, because in the contract it was very confusing on what premiums you were pulling, when our spreadsheets were done compared to what the auditor felt her spreadsheets projected, we were off. It wasn't a lot. We're not talking, thousands and thousands of dollars. We're talking minor amounts. But then again, based on reviewing their calculations, we were in agreement to go with those calculations and implement it for this year, which we're in the process of fixing them, and the employees are reimbursing us for the next 3 months. And by November, we'll be all clean, and everything will be good to go. So those were the 3, and like I said, as you can tell, they were very minor and nothing material whatsoever. No effect on our financials at all as a borough.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thank you, Jim, for what you do for this community. It's great. Your leadership is very valued. So bottom line is minimal financial impact and corrective action to strengthen some controls via some additional review layers.
Yes, it's more
That's what
review
we're gonna-
layers.
That's what we'll be certifying tonight. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And also, none of the comments were related to last year. I don't know if there was quite a few more from last year, but they were all rectified, which is another good sign that, the corrective actions we put in place are working. And it's all about, as you said, layers. Sure.
Great. Anyone from the public have a question? Yes, John?
I have a question. Jim, John Kane. This is only certifying the compliance with the state law. It's not taking the place of the outside accountants, right?
Okay, so when you say
Because when you look at the accounts in their statement, it's a qualified statement because of the length of service award not being audited.
length of service awards are audited. It's a separate
Not
audit.
according to the statement.
So the length of service awards is a separate audit for that.
Yeah.
It's outside the
But it's
normal
in,
audit.
the audit firm, our accountants say that the reason they give a qualified opinion is because they haven't seen the audit or they haven't audited.
Right. Our auditors have our own audit, but they do audit the length of service.
Okay, so
So we're
let
saying
me back
probably
up.
same
So the
thing.
first thing I'm saying is the resolution is really a certification of the law as much. It's not saying that these guys have gone out and audited the books. They've looked at what you've done. and certified.
They actually do an audit, so they take samples and they do audit, so I don't
The
know what you're
individual
talking
counsel
about.
members.
Has nothing to do with.
I don't know.
No, it has to do with the borough operations.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
But the second part is our auditors, at least on what I read on the website, there's a qualification. They give a qualified opinion, not an unqualified opinion.
Qualified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Just clarifying.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
And the audit report will be on the website, so you can take a look at it once.
It
it's
is,
posted.
I mean, yeah. Okay,
All right.
thanks.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, I declare the hearing closed. Thank you, Jim.
Okay,
for
thank you.
everything that
All right,
you've done.
thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, so we'll continue. Resolution 2023-241 is now the resolution approving the corrective action plan required as part of the annual audit. This is the resolution correcting deficiencies that Jim just pointed out and explained to us, and these were by the auditors in the 2022 municipal audit. 2023-242 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159 PL 1948 for the fiscal year 2024. This is municipal alliance funding. This is inserting an additional fiscal year 2024 funding into the budget for the municipal alliance in the amount of $1,221. This brings the fiscal year 2024 Drug Enforcement Demand Reduction Fund award to $11,109, and that has a cash match by the borough of $2,777 and in-kind match of $8,332.
That's amazing. Wasn't that cut like a couple years ago to like
Yeah.
a couple grand?
They cut it substantially. That was during COVID. It was.
That's great.
And we went out at that point and did our own
Right.
fundraising
Yeah.
for municipal alliance.
Good to see.
Yeah, because a lot of the programs have not been cut at
No,
all.
no, we didn't cut anything out of that. So, Resolution 2023-243 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, Union County Youth Leadership Grant. This is inserting an additional fiscal year 2024 funding into the budget for the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services Grant. It's a Term 2, Youth Leadership Alliance funding in the amount of $243. The initial award was $3,403, and so the new total is $3,646. Resolution 2023-244 is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of grant funds receivable and appropriated. This cancels 4 fiscal year 2022 grant balances in the amount of $987.37. Just to be clear on this, these are specific grants that are given to Municipal Alliance for certain funding and certain projects. And if there's any, extra cash that's in in that grant at the end of the grant term, it has to be repaid back to them. Resolution 2023-245 is a resolution providing for the insertion of any special item of revenue in the 2023 budget pursuant of NJS 40A4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948, SRTS 2022 Design Assistance Program. And then we have, last but not least, we have Resolution 2023-246, and this is the resolution authorizing the payment of the bills payable in the amount of $2,900,180.49. Some of the significant items on this list include our Board of Education payment for September of $1,411.46.
1 million.
I'm sorry, 1 million. 1 million, what did I say? 1,000? That would be nice, but no such luck. $1,411,046. Depository trust is our principal and interest payment for $607,200. State of New Jersey, $128,845 for our September state health benefit premium. And then lastly, the library for $93,300 for our September appropriation.
Well, you might as well keep
I
going.
will just keep going. So for administration, then we have Resolution 2023-247. This is a resolution approving the request of the New Providence Beautification Committee to sponsor a fall planting event at Centennial Park. The Beautification Committee is asking for a fall cleanup day in Centennial Park along with the Boy Scouts. So this is actually going to take place on this Sunday. The beautification is going to be working with Scout Troop 63. We have planned to plant some mums. We're going to actually meet with Ralph tomorrow at lunchtime. So he can kind of point out exactly what he would like and what we would like. So we'll be doing that on Sunday. So hopefully when you come back on Monday morning, you'll see a nice, pretty cleaned up and planted park.
Nice.
Okay?
Just make sure they don't dig up perennials.
No, we know what we're doing now. Okay, we have Resolution 2023-248 is a resolution approving the request of the New Jersey Sharing Network to sponsor Celebration of Life 5K event on January 9th, 2024. And June 9th, 2024. This is their annual 5K event that they do every year, so they're asking for road closures for that event.
I remembered running in that when it was just a New Providence 5K
Yeah.
with a couple hundred people.
Yep.
It's right out here.
It's
And I ran in it this year.
It's an amazing event.
That's all I
Bernadette, I do want to commend you and Allison and everybody for renovating that pavilion, gazebo pavilion. It was long overdue. It was supposed to be done just before COVID. And, then we hit the supply chain issues and everything else. But you have aluminum railings now, so it's a lot more low maintenance than it was before. So thank you. It really looks great. It's repainted. So that's terrific. Okay, let's go community activities, Pete.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2023-249 is a salary resolution. That's for hiring 3 after-school supervisors for recreation programs. Resolution 2023-250 is a resolution authorizing the application for fiscal year 2024 Union County Local Arts Grant, LAP, for the Borough of New Providence. This is authorizing the borough to apply for a Union County Local Arts Grant for fiscal year 2024 for public art. Resolution 2023-251 is a resolution approving the request for New Providence Diversity Committee to host community events during calendar year 2023. The Diversity Committee is asking for permission to participate in several events, namely Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th to October 15th. Events will include a collaboration with the library to host a homeschool connection workshop, which will offer resources to Spanish-speaking families and the screening of a movie, The Return El Regreso. Diwali celebration in Berkeley Heights, partnering with the Berkeley Heights Diversity Committee and the Berkeley Heights YMCA on November the 12th. And then the Night of 1,000 Stars on December 1st. This event will require DPW's assistance to purchase and light the tree. Academy Street road closers work the night of the event for setup and takedown and provide supplies, garbage cans, chairs for performers, etc. Police will be requested for the event to close Academy Street and cross pedestrians at Springfield and Academy. Although I read this resolution, the credit and the work goes to, of course, our diversity committee and our council liaisons, Nadine Joffrey and co-liaison Alex Cogan. And I'd like to ask Alex if there's anything else he'd like to add.
No, I think part of this is one of the goals this year was to partner with Berkeley Heights and partner with the library, thanks to Allison, showing us how much the library does in a lot of these diversity events. So the diversity committee seems to be on board with that, and I think just using all the resources, whether it's in town or neighboring towns, is definitely the way we're proceeding.
I just add, if anybody would like to attend the Diwali celebration in Berkeley Heights, a few of us went last year. It is really cool. A lot of the kids dressing up and dancing, and it was a lot of fun.
I think you have to pre-register, right? And I think it actually closed out, so you have to jump on that bandwagon quickly.
Okay, very good. Resolution 2023-252 is a resolution awarding contract to Broadway Elite Tours, DBA Passaic Valley Coach, 17, is it Fernella Drive, East Hanover, New Jersey, 07936, for bus transportation service for community activities and senior programs. That's awarding a contract for calendar years 2024, 2025, and 2026. Finally, Resolution 2023-253 is a resolution awarding contract for basketball instruction services to Blaze Basketball Enterprises, LLC. Again, this is awarding a contract for Blaze Hoop Group for basketball fundamental clinics and camps for the calendar years 24, 25, and 26. That's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Alex, engineering?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Resolution 2023-254, resolution accepting the proposals of Collier Engineering Design for professional engineering services regarding NJDOT FY 2023 Maple Street and Union Avenue improvements. This is to accept the proposal, design and bid and grant administration totaling $61,000 for Colliers to develop construction drawings, specifications to be utilized for public bid. Bid documents will be prepared in accordance with NJDOT requirements. Throughout the process, Colliers will prepare submittals, NJDOT Bureau of Local Aid in accordance with the municipal aid program requirements for the Maple Street projects. Submittals will include final plan, specs, engineer's estimate, engineer's design certifications, resolution of award, bid tabulation, pre-construction meeting minutes, 75% initial payment voucher, construction start and notices, final change order forms, and reimbursement vouchers. Hopefully there's no change orders. Resolution 2023-255, resolution accepting a grant from the Hazardous Discharge Site Remediation Fund Public Entity Program through the New Jersey Economic Development Authority and New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. This is a grant for $40,703 was awarded to the borough for the site investigation that had taken place in the Ping Wang property when the greenhouses were being removed. Resolution 2023-256, resolution authorizing an agreement between the Borough of New Providence and CGP and HLLC for Affordable Housing Administration Agent, General Services. This is entering into a contract with CGP and HLLC to assist with general services associating with placing people in affordable housing units within the borough.
Okay. Personnel, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 257 is a resolution approving agreement between the Borough of New Providence and Teamsters Local 469 for the period January 1, 2023 through December 31, 2026, and authorizing the mayor and the borough clerk to execute the same. And this is just the full contract with the Teamsters. As you remember, a few months back, we've approved the memorandum of understanding. This includes a 2.5% increase each year for the length of the contract, which is consistent with the increases throughout some of our other contracts as well.
Okay, we have public safety, audit report for the hose company, resolution 258. A lot of these are for the changeover for the county dispatch. Purchase order for CDW government for $8,800, for tough books for the ambulance for the county dispatch. 259 is appointing crossing guards for 2023. Resolution 260 is approving the PBA Association Local 132 sponsored for the trunk or treat pumpkin carving event on October 22nd, and that'll be at the pool from 1 to 2:30. Resolution 261 is for Whitmer Public Safety Group, not to exceed $29,904 for turnout gear for the fire department. 262 is resolution for East Coast emergency lighting, not to exceed $3,339.80 for the EMS county dispatch equipment. 263 is a resolution for Philip M. Cassiano Associates, not to exceed $5,813.76 for the EMS dispatch equipment. And 264 is a resolution approving memorandum of understanding with the Union County Prosecutor's Office to be in the Union County Municipal Task Force. And this is to combat criminal activity throughout the county. Okay, Public Works.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2023-265, resolution of the Borough of New Providence authorizing emergency repair to the 24-inch Passaic Street sewer main. During one of the recent inspections, the 24-inch main was found to be in need of repair. National Water Main that is already in town doing the sewer lining project will spot the line in this section that's in need of the repair. Resolution 2023-266, this resolution approving requisition R2301742 for M&J Pepe and Sons Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $20,750 for the DeCorso Center driveway repairs. This is to repave the DeCorso Center driveway. The project is being paid by using CDBG grant money. Resolution 2023-267, resolution approving the purchase order for CET heating and air conditioning in the amount not to exceed $15,800 for the HVAC repairs, Historical Society. This is for the replacement of the HVAC unit that services the archive room in the basement of the library. Resolution 2023-268, resolution authorizing professional engineering services of NV5 for safe routes to school design assistance. This accepts the NV5 as the design consultant for the 2022 Safe Routes to School project. The project is broken up to 3 phases: preliminary engineering, final design services, and construction engineering support services. Resolution 2023-269, resolution authorizing the entry and execution of the federal aid agreement for the 2022 Safe Routes to School grant. This is the execution of the federal aid agreement between the borough and the NJDOT, consistent with the terms of the written resolution and the form submitted to the borough by the NJDOT. Resolution 2023-270, resolution accepting the proposal of Colliers Engineering for professional engineering services regarding NJDOT FY 2024 Safe Routes to School grant. This accepts the proposal from Colliers to submit the grant application on behalf of the borough. And the last one, Resolution 2023-271. This is the resolution approving the purchase order for Enviro Site in the amount not to exceed $12,572.39 for the sewer main video camera repairs, which is a very important tool. for us.
We had a lot tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion items? Seeing none? Okay. Council committee reports. Actually, public safety operations normal. The only thing, we talked about the fire department with their firemen, what do they call that, Alex?
Open house?
Open house, right. And that should be a good time, that's on the 14th. PBA is having a car show at the pool on October 7th, and we just talked about the trunk or treat. And that's all I have. Diane?
Okay, I'll try to talk quick. I know the agenda is very long. Just an additional shout out to our DPW for all of their regular maintenance, which helps us to avoid major catastrophes. Communications, we just received a flyer in the mail, which has a whole bunch of information, like leaf collection, DPW, what to flush, what not to flush. Fire department and EMS need volunteers. Take a look at this. It's got a lot of great information on it. Also, again, a shout out to our Comcast Cable Review Committee. Sustainability, free cycle, hopefully on Saturday the 23rd, weather permitting. Drop off until 12, and the event runs 9 to 2. Rain date is the Sunday. We're crossing our fingers that we can have it. Historical Society had a dedication of their third marker at the Saltbox Museum. It's beautiful. Go take a look. And they have their book festival on Saturday the 23rd at the Saltbox, so you can do double duty if the weather is good. Go from the pool parking lot to the Saltbox. Board of Health, always an amazing meeting, highly informative. The borough posts information and PSAs on our website. There's also monthly newsletters from the Westfield Board of Health. RSV, for example, is on the rise. Mosquito-borne illnesses are also on the rise, and the library has free COVID tests. So,
Thank you. Pete?
Okay, Mayor, some announcements from our community activities department. The PBA car show is Saturday, October 7th in the New Providence Pool parking lot from 9 to 2. If I remember correctly, last year was that beautiful weather, a beautiful day? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
event, a
really
lot of
good.
cool cars.
A lot
and-
of fun, yeah.
Well, you don't want bad weather because they don't bring nice cars up.
That's
there.
right, that's right. Thanks to the PBA and the New Providence Police Department for hosting this event each year. Registration is open for New Providence Rec Basketball for kids grades 1 through 8. This popular program runs throughout the winter. All skill levels are welcome. Call the Community Activities Department with questions or registration online through Community Pass. And then finally, hot off the presses, right? We can go ahead and, hot off the presses, New Providence pickleball courts will be open tomorrow, September 20th, on tennis court number 8. 2 pickleball courts are available to all New Providence residents. A permit is not required, but reservations are advised. Court reservations can be made by New Providence residents via Community Pass starting Wednesday, September 20th at 11 a.m. Each reservation will cost $5 and it is 90 minutes. Going forward, the Community Pass registration program opens each Monday at 8 a.m. for registrations the following Friday through Thursday. For example, on Monday, September 25th, reservations will be open for Friday, September 29th through Thursday, October 5th. Residents can make only 1 reservation per calendar day. If you play without a reservation, you can be bumped, of course, by a reservation holder. Pickleball courts will be closed Monday through Friday from 2 to 7 during the high school tennis season. Okay, so please call the Community Activities and Recreations Office with any questions, and of course, enjoy this fun new addition to our community. Is critical right now that I send a special thank you to our Community Activities Director, Allison Smith, Arlene Reagan from the department, our Borough Administrator, Bernadette Caccaro, for making this a reality, and our Mayor and Council. You know, folks, I think this is a great example of the process working. You have active, engaged community that took the time out of their busy schedules to come here and give us feedback. You had an attentive mayor and council who listened to that information, synthesized it, and put forth a good plan. And then finally, you had our borough employees who successfully executed that plan. So I want to thank all for this great new addition. Thank you.
Okay. Matt?
So I missed the planning board meeting and had a personal thing come up last minute, but there were two items that were on the agenda, and if I missed it, Mr. Mayor, please just fill in the blanks. But the diner, I don't know if anybody's aware, but the diner's egress, exiting the diner is not, that property is not owned by the property owner of the diner. That is owned by the owner of Bank of America. So they were discussing an agreement for that egress, and I think the agreement came down to flipping the entrance and exit at that location. So the diner's actual ingress will now be its egress. So that is a change that will be coming, which will also help the traffic flow in and out of the Bank of America building, which was the other application. And that application is going to be medical offices.
I think we got it wrong. The exit for the bank.
Okay.
Okay, you go around, there will be no more canopy there in the back and no canopy for the ATM. But the entrance to get to that medical facility will be the exit that is currently now. So it'll be one way, and you can still pull in the diner the way you used to, and you can pull in and exit that big driveway by the traffic lights. The diner parking will include the corner parking lot, so there'll be more parking there. City MD was going to go into that facility. Summit Medical said, no, we're going to put a couple rotating doctors in there, like dermatologists, people like that. So it won't be that crowded. So it'll be by appointment only, so they'll have some control over the flow of the traffic going in there. So actually, the traffic plan is much, much better. And it will help out the town a lot more, you know. And there will be no towing that happened a couple of years ago, which upset everybody, and rightfully so. So the owners of that, the old bank property and the diner have worked out an agreement, and it works for everyone. So I'm very happy about that.
Yep.
We've always tried to get people to share parking, and people are very resistant to it, landowners. But you know what? It's happening anyway. Let's face it. You park downtown, you're going all over the place, you know. So this is a good example that working together works out best for everybody involved. So we want to thank the landowners and everybody involved. Okay?
Thank you.
I think that does it. And we missed
Apologies
you,
for
Matt.
that misinformation there, but
Yeah, that's okay. You had the right gist.
I did.
Yeah. Alex, you're up.
Yeah, just on a comment on the engineering or DPW, the week of October 2nd, JCP&L is going to be doing tree pruning. You can take a look on our homepage on our website. On the latest news, there's a link. You can click and see a PDF of what streets they're going to be coming through. Of course, this is all weather permitting, so they'll be throughout town that week, pruning trees to keep the utility lines clear of debris.
I think I should mention this, is that JCP&L with the tree trimming, the PSE&G with the gas lining and new things, same with the water company. They all have statewide general permits. They can do it in as much as they want to do, whenever they want. We have no control over that whatsoever. Like it or not, they're going to do what they're going to do. And hopefully they'll work with us, but there's no guarantee. And I know every year with tree trimming, I get a bunch of phone calls, oh, they destroyed my tree. Well, we really don't have any control over that. And they have an arborist that goes around and says this, and they do what the arborists say. So, I know it's ugly sometimes, but it's better than losing your power for 2 weeks, you know? So, and a lot of us have experienced that. Okay, Lisa.
Okay, so on, I think we touched a little bit at the beginning of the meeting on beautification. We actually will be meeting tomorrow at Centennial Park to go over what we plan to do on Sunday. And not just that, but talk about hopefully some winter decorations in the park. We would love to see it, you know, decorated, maybe especially in time for Night of 1,000 Stars. And like I mentioned before, we have a short-term to long-term plan on the beautification of that park, which is underway. On the library front, I'm happy to say that the library just received a grant from Union County for $32,000, which is going to be earmarked for the Maine consortium migration, which is awesome. So that is no money that has to come out of the library's pocket, which is great. I believe Al and some of us will be going down there to receive that grant tomorrow. The library is also in the process of looking at building designs. They are working with some consultants to, you know, look at they're looking within the footprint as well as maybe an addition to the library. So that is something that's going to be coming down the pike. Some of these consultants have made recommendations even just within the library right now, and the staff at the library is amazing. As soon as they get a recommendation that they like, they immediately go to work. So if you haven't been in there in a while, go take a look, especially in the reading nook. They've really rearranged everything and made it really, really enjoyable to go in there and just relax a little bit and read a book. And as a matter of fact, right now, across the street, there is a library board meeting going on. They are passing a resolution which is United Against Book Bans. And I just want to say that September is National Read Banned Books Month. The New Providence Library believes in everyone's individual freedom to read and choose their own reading materials. The Library Board of Trustees is voting tonight, probably right now, to pass a resolution against book banning and supports the library's selection of diverse materials to represent all cultures, creeds, and identities. So that's going to be happening right now. Lastly, I just want to mention that a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we dedicated a bench over at Veterans Park for one of our residents that passed away, Walter Edmonds. He was a longtime volunteer in New Providence, decades, many decades with CSA, in fact. So CSA did get together and we dedicated a bench in his memory at Veterans Park. But that just kind of reminds me of the fact that, you know, Aiden is here tonight accepting on behalf of Link. And I look around and almost everyone here, including our council and mayor, we're all volunteers. And volunteers make up the backbone and the heart of this community. Without volunteers, things don't get done. With volunteers, we're taking care of our residents. We're making sure people are fed, that their basic needs are being met, that their kids are able to enjoy soccer and all kinds of different activities. So kudos and thank you to all our New Providence volunteers.
Couldn't say baseball or lacrosse.
No, she knows what to say. She knows what to say.
Because I'm sitting next to the soccer guy. I could say softball and football.
Your elbows aren't that long.
She could have said fire.
Okay.
Fire.
Just really quick, Mayor. I have been in touch with PSC&G as they're coming to the end of their Phase 2 project for gas line replacement. They still do not have a timeline for paving, but they said that they would be reaching out to me in the next few weeks to discuss which roads we're going to swap out that they'll pave and will pave.
Did you know that they're also replacing meters on the houses?
Yes. Yeah, that came as part of your bill, like they're doing all of them.
I'm talking about JCP&L, not PSCNG.
Yes, both of them are though.
Okay.
Yeah.
The water company does it too.
Yeah, they're all doing it so that they can just drive by and not have to
There's
stop
so
and
many
read.
lines.
Yeah.
Okay. We have public comments. Anybody wishing to address council? Yeah, Mike.
I'm going to be very quick. I'm Mike Calver, I'm 16 Brookside Drive. As a pickleball player, I would really like to thank the council on how quickly they moved. And I think the town really appreciates it. People were asking me when this was going to get done. I thought for sure we weren't going to see anything until November. So, my compliments. Great job on you guys' part. So, thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
And a shout out also to our rec department, because I know Allison Smith and her group had done a significant amount of work for many years on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Yes, Alan.
Alan Swanson, 47 Overhill Road. First, thank you, Bernadette, for responding to my questions about the microphone. There were a number of people at the Board of Adjustment meeting who were complaining about the microphones and having people. So I was pleased to see that there were a number of people in the audience, and Keith and Bernadette both recognized that, and they're going to have in the company that looked at this to see if they can improve it a little bit. So I appreciate that. Second thing I'd like to mention is, real quick, on the planning board, you didn't talk about the 32 feet, 38 feet at all, did you? I wasn't.
No.
Okay. When you do, please be sure to give sufficient notice. If you just give it out on Friday,
it'll be
because
after
there are a
the
lot of
first-
people that I think are interested.
It'll be after the first of the year.
After the first, oh, well, that's very good. Thank you very much. And the third thing, real quick, well, I have four, but the third thing I want to say is the library board, I've only been to one meeting, is really just so fantastic in this town. And given what's happening around nearby, to be making the kind of statement that they're making in terms of reading and the freedom to read is just fantastic. So the main reason I came up here tonight is that on Sunday, you may know that there was a demonstration in Manhattan. I was there with some of the estimates of being up to 75,000 people. And for me, the activity brought back personally remembrances of involvement in the civil rights movement, opposition to the Vietnam War. I'm a little bit unique in that I was in the military and opposed to the Vietnam War. And the 2003 opposition to the Iraq War. It was invigorating. So I want to bring the message of the march that took place on Sunday. And it basically was just that we need to put an end to fossil fuels. And that we would like to see the president declare that we have a climate emergency, which would do a lot to achieve that goal. What we need to do, if your children and my children and their children are not going to be facing some real serious problems, is to address the issues of fossil fuel now. We need to create an environment where we're no longer using fossil fuels, methane gas, to heat our homes, et cetera. Just, the list is very long. But here, what we need to do are things like auditing what we're doing, our existing use of the fossil fuels, to try to use them more efficiently. Many of the things that I've mentioned over the years that I've been talking about this. Well, it's going to take leaders that have the political will to kind of buck sometimes the views of, I don't want to be political, but of the party that you all represent, which is not moving in that direction, unfortunately. But that's not why I'm talking today. The march on Sunday was a wake-up call for those of us that are involved, that we really needed. And here in New Providence, the wake-up is to take the time to create a working group, a group of people that can get together and look at what I've brought up in the past. Look at creating a climate action plan, just like they've done in Madison and Chatham, and Jersey City, Hoboken, Princeton. That's about it for New Jersey. And the state has done it, but we can do it here. Because the truth is, you're either going to do it now and work on it now, or it's going to be imposed on you. And it's kind of like, why not get ahead of it? Why not plan now for the future, rather than have somebody come and say, and people complaining about, oh, well, the state is telling us we have to do this and we don't like it, that sort of thing. Plan on it now. I want to say that another thing, given the atmosphere that we have today, and that is that the people that were marching on Sunday, young and old, and people like New York City from all parts of our earth, not one sign, not one chant was made that was against Trump, against Biden, against the government, about how terrible people were, except the fossil fuel industry and what they've told us over the years was never going to be a problem. And of course, we've arrived at this time when it is. The people that were marching with me were people who greeted each other with open arms. And they were there for one purpose, and that purpose was that we can solve this crisis together, and we can create a greener and more prosperous world for everyone. So I guess the message is, go downtown and make those signs that say, go green, mean something, really mean something for us here in New Providence today. That's all. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to address council? Yes, sir.
I'm John Kane, 54 Midvale. I just have a quick question. In the library, wonderful what they're doing, really wonderful. On resolutions 268, 69, and 70, I'm just looking for, and maybe you can point me where, shouldn't say that, tell me where to go, because you will. Kidding. Because in those resolutions, there's an engineering, I think, study for $449,000, and then the DOT is another 211. So I don't know where the road, pardon the pun, the roadmap is for all this stuff. How it, if there's a timeline, how the engineering is going. I mean, Alex, you mentioned there's 3 levels, but can't tell where, and then what routes? What routes are we talking about?
I think I'll let Bernadette answer, but, the Safe Routes, it has multiple years.
I know, I'm just looking for a timeline
Yeah.
where.
But I think Bernadette can shed
The
some.
2022 grant that we're talking about on the agenda is for sidewalks on the Fellsway and Maple Street, and I think those are the only 2. My computer's not working, so I can't open it up. What happens is NV5, we name them as our engineers for the design work. They take care of all the engineering services. They allot us up to a certain amount for that services. We apply back to the state, and they reimburse us for the total cost of that.
But is the 450,000 to round it, is that engineering stuff, is that getting reimbursed?
Yes.
Is that part of the grant that
Yes,
originally came in?
it's 100% reimbursable
Okay,
engineering
perfect.
services.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. And there will be no rain on Saturday for the free
We're
cycle?
praying.
I hope so.
Yeah, we're
I
praying.
just need 7 hours, that's all I need. Thank you.
Kathleen Dolan, 12 Laurel Drive. I have 2 topics tonight. First, last month, Mayor, you mentioned the Public Safety Committee had talked about holding a public forum on firearm safety. I would be interested in participating, or the Moms Demand Action Group would like to have,
That'll be presented by the police department.
it will be presented by the police
Yes,
department.
and you can ask questions at that time.
Okay. Is there some kind of a timeline for when that's supposed to
Not at
happen?
this time. I talked to the chief and he's compiling information.
Perfect, okay, I'll wait to hear more about that, thank you. Second, as I've been walking around town, I've noticed the number of dead trees. We were just talking about fossil fuels and climate change, et cetera. There's dead trees, mature, large dead trees in our neighborhoods and along our streets. And some of these are probably the ash trees that were affected by the emerald ash borer beetle infestation. So I'm on the Sustainable New Providence Committee, and maintaining our green local landscape is very important to me. With the large construction projects going on around town, there are many, many trees being removed, which is troubling. And I know there's a permitting process for tree removal, but I don't see any associated process for replanting, and we're losing our greenery at an alarming rate. So my understanding is that New Providence currently satisfies 4 of the 5 criteria required to meet the Tree City designation, which would allow us to access funds to plant 75 trees a year. The 5th requirement is to have a shade commission in New Providence, and we don't have one. And considering our shrinking tree canopy, it seems like we should seriously consider putting one together. I looked on the New Providence Borough website for information on our town's procedures for tree management and found a community forestry management plan that was produced in 2016 that inventoried every tree in New Providence and provided advice and guidance for how the problematic trees should be addressed. This plan expired in 2021, and I'd like to know if there's a progress report available for how those recommendations from 2016 were applied, and if there's an updated community forestry management plan available. And I'd also like to know how we can proceed to establish a shade commission in our town.
We'll talk to Mr. Lynch about the plan.
You'll
I can
talk-
circle back to you.
Okay, thank you, Bernadette. And I agree with you about the volunteers. Totally important. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else wishing to address council? Seeing no one? Oh, yeah, Alex.
Alexander Pereira, 92 Pine Way. I want to just make a call out to a lot of the green initiatives we do have in town. There are a lot of initiatives in town. When I was in high school, I have some fond memories of my brother and I helping out with the PTSA for their plastics collection. And that was done in the schools. I believe that's still being done in the schools. As we know, plastic bags aren't recyclable. I have a lot of memories of my car packed to the brim with the plastics and driving them either to Acme when they let us, and then we had to go out to Union to the Home Depot because they were the only people who would let us take that much plastic. And it was, plastic is everywhere, and it's amazing how much that we were able to collect and able to actually get properly recycled. The free cycle program that's about to happen is amazing. Hoping for dryness too for you guys. And I've mentioned this before, but just want to reiterate there is a big green push, and that's very important. But just to be careful with some of it in town, speaking as a private citizen, I am a member of the fire department as a disclosure. There's been a lot of fires with especially electric vehicles and electric batteries, and that's something that needs to be thought of and counterbalanced, and I know you guys have been doing that. because those are not normal fires. We've had a lot of training on them recently. Big benefit of having a lot of great relationships with the other fire departments in this county. We do a lot of joint training. We just did a joint training recently on lithium-ion batteries and car fires, and it's a whole different ballpark. So it's extremely important to be green and to be moving towards that. But we also have to recognize the possible downsides and possible dangers of moving too quickly into untested technology. Thank you.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah, I have been in conversation with the fire department, public safety has, and, there's good and bad in everything. So, we have to take everything in moderation and see where we wind up. I think there's a lot of things that we can do, a lot of things we just have to wait for. And I'm at the point now where I'm open to everything, all of the above right now. I mean, we have to survive, we have a quality of life we have to maintain. And, until somebody comes up with all the answers, then I think we can move forward. So, at that point, anyone else? No? Nick, it's good to see you. Okay,
I have something.
yes.
I believe tonight is Brian Hogarth's last night as our videographer.
I don't think so.
What?
It's another month.
You have another month?
Oh, excellent. Wow, you're kicking them out.
All right, sorry.
I think she's pushing out the door.
Well, you know
I want
what?
you to stay, buddy.
All right, I would just like to recognize Brian. Thank you for everything you do. And we can thank you again next month.
Okay. Can I have a motion for adjournment? Oh, we got to do,
No.
I need a motion for items 1 through 32, please.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bullock.
Aye.
Mr. Bissardi.
Aye.
Mr. Kaminsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kogan.
Yes.
Mrs. McKnight.
Yes.
Now, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, so be it. Thank you all for coming tonight.